Hey guys, so I had a spot come up today where I was chatting with my team about a situation that had happened in a class, and so basically this is what got explained to me. Brand new student was rolling with a pretty new blue belt, and they're having their roll. Blue belt gets on the new person's back, sets up the rear naked choke, sinks it in pretty deep, and then the new student digs down his chin, fights the hands, and basically for 2 minutes fights tooth and nail to not get submitted by a rear naked choke. And when the roll finishes, the blue belt says to the white belt, "Why didn't you tap out?" And this brings up a bunch of interesting questions. So the question as it was posed to me was more, what should we tell the white belt to do? And my reaction was actually, well, what should I tell the blue belt to do? And the reason that I want to talk specifically to the blue belt is the blue belt is the person with knowledge. The blue belt is the person who can usually choose to de-escalate this situation. And the white belt doesn't necessarily know better. In fact, they kind of think they're doing the right thing by not tapping, by showing that they're strong and they can kind of make the cut in this pretty dominated space by an alpha, or by that they're trying to prove their validity and their self-worth. So let's get back to that blue belt. If you cannot submit somebody quickly, like within 30-ish seconds, and they're new, I'm probably going to question, is the technique that you're using efficient? Are you doing it correctly? And even if you're doing it correctly and your opponent's defending correctly, the new person, they might just be naturally good and they might be defending. After you get to that 30 seconds, you need to transition to other attacks. That nobody learns anything during the times of inaction. It just becomes hugely uncomfortable. So as the blue belt, you need to be willing to give up the position and move forward with the roll. Maybe it's an opportunity to look for a different attack that you wouldn't usually play, or transition. Like, the worst that can happen is probably not all that bad versus like a brand new white belt. So you've got to be prepared to let it go. So I would say the onus is on you to move through positions and create new positions, and then at the end of the roll, you can get to the spot and go, hey, if you get stuck, you are allowed to tap so that we can restart the roll. That you have to normalize the idea of tapping, and you have to take some of the ego out of it. But you also need to take your ego out of it. And that's not to say there's no ego in jiu-jitsu, because there is. And if a new person's going at 1,000,000 miles an hour and being dangerous for you, like there's lots of things that can happen. So this isn't just like one solve fits every single problem, but in general, you are the experienced grappler. You've been doing jiu-jitsu for 2 to 3 years. You're committed. You need to make the choices to allow other people to make the choices, and to allow other people to understand the culture around rolling and tapping and what's acceptable and what's not. It's actually a really great teaching opportunity, and we need to be ready for when those opportunities show up for us. So yeah, kind of down a big rant. Teach the white belt that it's okay to tap, but also be prepared to give up on positions maybe that you might have gotten if it's competition. It seriously matters, but it's a brand new white belt. You've got to help them get off the ground.